I like that. 'Cause I'm digging deep right now.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm on one of those.
Yeah, thank you. There you go.
You'd
All right,
swim in
it is 7 o'clock.
You'd
I would
swim
like
in
to
that.
call the meeting,
Get you one.
the meeting to order of the Tilton Budget Committee.
Actually,
Quorum being present, let us begin by looking at the meeting minutes. Please review.
I reviewed them. If anybody doesn't, they're all okay, so I can make motion.
I reviewed them online as well, and I'm fine
Okay.
with them.
Motion has been made to accept the minutes as written. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting minutes are accepted. Next item is discussion. I talked to Joanna and the Red Cross and Child New Beginnings have not responded, so we're going to still discuss them tonight. Okay? You also should have gotten an email from the Pine Center addressing the questions that we were looking at last week. Okay, let us take up the Red Cross. Do we have any motions on the floor?
I'd like to make a motion that we not fund the Red Cross this year.
Is there a second?
Will you be refreshed on the amount?
Eric, what do we have for the amount? Eric is so good, he's at figures.
500, I believe.
$1,609.
Thank you, Joanna.
Who we fund the most?
$1,690?
$1,609 is the amount they
We funded
requested.
500 last year.
Okay. Motion on the floor to not fund it all. Is there a second?
If there's a second, that just starts discussion, right?
That's correct.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion. John?
I just wanted to hear her reasons.
Oh, okay.
There's been controversy every year that we've had the Red Cross come. And they came last year and gave a fairly good presentation, I thought, but there was still question as to how much actually came to the local area and how much went into Concord and other areas. And I'm not sure we got really good answers, but in the past, they have not picked up what we've given them on many occasions. And they seem to reorganize every year, so we don't even know where their headquarters are. And it bothers me that they don't even bother to show up. And we've let them know this. We had this problem in the past. They did show up last year, and Johanna has made many attempts to try to get in touch with them. And I guess I feel like we take our jobs very seriously, and we only have so much money to give out, and the taxpayers have to come up with that money. And I think in fairness to the taxpayers and to the other organizations that we support who do show up and spend time and make presentations, that it's almost a slap in the face to us for them not to show up.
Okay. Further discussion. Eric?
It just looks like they have not submitted an invoice to us for this year because it's still on the books as being unpaid. Have we ever not paid them?
If they don't ask for it, we don't pay them.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying,
I've always collected it.
no, but have we ever not funded them, I guess is the better way to say it. Have we ever not funded them?
Yes, and then we had a few fires the next year, and we funded them. Because they were a tremendous help to the community during those fires.
Yeah.
They were an amazing help. There were 2 or 3 fires in 1 year, total loss.
That was a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
But if we
And,
don't fund them, are they not going to come to the town of Tilton if, God forbid, there's a disaster?
I don't think that will happen.
No, that won't happen.
Or do they go down and let's say, oh, Tilton didn't fund us,
No.
we don't go there?
Right.
We've asked them to do more first aid trainings, CPR training and things like that, and I don't think they upped that training any.
Lights are distracting at times.
No, I thought maybe the power was flickering.
I thought you were looking
You
at me
might be
because that was so
stepping on
cute.
the one that's over here.
Nope, I'm not. Nope.
Red.
No, it was clicking.
Okay.
I think it's the box over here that's clicking and beeping.
Ah,
Oh, okay. Just unplug it, we'll talk to him in the morning.
Well, I mean, I don't know how well the Red Cross is doing for funds, but maybe they just have plenty of money.
one because of what they are to the town and what they do to the town. And I just want to make sure that we're consistent in what we do. And they haven't shown up. I'm sure that it's for a good reason, because they've never not shown up.
One's
I don't know if we-
national, one's fairly local.
One's local, right, but, I mean, we have to, if you're saying it for the reason that you'd like not to fund them, because each year we have to remind them several times, and they never make their appointments with the Budget Committee.
But
and
the next
we
one
have
that
to
you're
remind
talking
them to
about,
pick-
we haven't had to. They've been here. This is the first year they haven't come.
Who's that?
The next one. that you said.
Right, if, that's what I was going to say. If you go just solely on having to remind them to pick up their funding that, from the year before, or they're going to lose it, that sends us a message. But if you go add not showing up, I think we can eliminate that portion and then be free to go to the next one and make our decision based on the next one.
I seem to recall, I asked this either last year or the year before, you know, where's our money go? And they said that when you donate locally, like we do, it stays in New Hampshire. It may not necessarily be earmarked for Tilton, but it's earmarked for New Hampshire. And likewise, if you, after a big disaster and you donate, you know, if you donate to 1-800-RED Cross or something like that, or text to the Red Cross, that goes to the national Red Cross, and, you know, it trickles down, and they get a small percentage of that money for their operating funds, so. But are we setting, my question, I guess, are we setting a precedent here, because your reasoning is that they didn't show up? And, you know, if you go to the next one, they didn't show
No,
up.
I said historically.
Yeah.
They have not showed up. Historically, they
I
have.
just want to make sure that we're not going to
They did last year. Prior to that, I don't think they'd showed up for, well, since I've been on the budget committee, they hadn't showed up. Do you know the last time they showed up, Joanna?
Last year, the year before.
They showed up last year. They didn't the year before.
Further discussion? Jane, would you restate your motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion that we not fund the Red Cross this year.
Everyone understand the motion? All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Nay.
Nay.
Okay? Nays have it. Chair will entertain another motion.
I make a motion that we fund the Red Cross at the same level that we did for the previous year, $500.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion. Hearing no further discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ayes, 1 nay. Okay, motion is carried to fund for $500.
5 years.
I'm sorry, 1, 2, 5 and 1.
Oh, no, I'm just like looking.
Okay, my apologies. All right, next one we need to discuss is new beginnings. Do I hear a motion for new beginnings?
Can I
Yes.
think if it's proper or not? Never mind, I don't think it's... Would love to put a contingency on that. If they don't pick up this year's, then
Speak your mind.
I don't think we can do that with the
You can't
budget.
actually vote, no.
No,
Okay.
I don't think it's legal to do.
We certainly can bring it up at the next year's budget hearing.
Well,
Go ahead, Eric.
they have they not picked up the check? Because it's out of the budget for the next one. Oh, you're talking about Red Cross, or you're talking about?
Red Cross.
Oh,
Red Cross.
well, we have until the next amount of time that we could modify
That's right.
we can modify it in January.
Okay, no further discussion on Red Cross. Chair will entertain a motion for new beginnings.
I make a motion that we look at new beginnings.
What's the funding level, Pat, for new beginnings?
1530, $1,530.
Just to, I'm not voting for it, I'm just making the motion to,
That's just for discussion.
yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second motion has been made, seconded. Any discussion? Jules,
I
anything?
don't have any.
Call the question, because she's just opening the...
Now we'll get a little discussion going here. Any further discussion?
Well, I was going to make a motion.
What's that?
I was going to make a motion, but you can't until that one's already been done.
Or she's new, maybe she can get a overview of
Yes, I would like an overview.
Okay.
what they provide for the town.
Yeah,
Okay, would you like an overview of what,
I would like that.
who would like to give her that?
I think that Johanna would be more appropriate to give an overview of what New Beginnings does.
New Beginnings serves all of Belknap County. They are a domestic violence shelter that will offer shelter and a 24-hour crisis hotline to anyone who calls, whether it's male, female. They offer court advocacy for prosecution of batterers. They're a wonderful resource that helps a huge amount of people in the community. If they do not have beds at their shelter, they will find another shelter to work with you.
Do we ever deal with women?
Many of them are volunteers themselves, and they are graduates of New Beginnings. When our welfare director came here, she has nothing but good things to say about them.
That's what I'm just...
I've heard nothing but good things about them. They're advocates for the adults and for the children as well, and they do provide, I guess, really shelter for us a lot. I think think they do a lot of shelters for Tilton.
It's one of the things that are recommended by our welfare, and our PD use them on a regular basis, particularly on an evening emergency situation. That's the direct route to getting help where it's needed here.
I have in my notes that there were 4 families that received shelter for them this year in the town.
4, is that what you said, 4?
4.
4.
But they take a lot of phone calls, and, I mean, I'm sure it's
And they do a lot
important
of
to have all
counseling
this
too.
other
Process,
stuff here.
because some of those people stayed, some of those are multiple night stays.
Or
Um,
repeat, yeah.
And they also do a learning as well in resources, give them the resources to continue to move forward in the right direction. There's counsel there so that they can get going in the right direction, family as well as individual. So it's a huge asset to our community when you need them in an emergency. We have sent, in the past, we have sent them elsewhere, and we've gotten from emergency services, emergency rooms and things like that. And there have been times where there's been doors shut on our residents, and we no longer fund those people that have done that. So New Beginnings has
So-
been right there for us each and every time we've needed them. You know, even though we've only serviced 4 families, it could be a family of 6, it could be a family of 2, we don't know that. But
That's sheltered 4 families. That doesn't count how many have used the hotline.
Exactly.
Right, all this
exactly.
other stuff that's
Yeah.
on here.
Right,
yeah.
but at least we have that resource for them in an emergency situation that's available to us. You know, it's like an insurance policy, you never know when you're going to need it, but when you need it, you want the best to be there.
And when you're dealing with domestic violence, there's more than just sheltering involved, too. There's,
Oh, yeah, it's,
Safety,
I'm familiar with Voices Against Violence.
Yeah.
That's probably almost the same thing.
Very similar,
so.
yeah.
So do is it up to me now to, like,
No, would you restate your motion?
okay, I'm like to fund them for the amount of
$1,630?
$1,600 and,
Is that what it was?
No, 1,530.
Sorry.
That's what I have on the paper.
$1,530.
I'll second that.
Oh, I saw even second by
Oh.
John. Joanna, is that the right combination of data?
That would be the original motion.
Okay, that'll be the original motion, okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. All right, next item of discussion, Pines Recreation. Does the chair hear a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we still continue to hold off until we know what the town of Northfield has decided to do.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion. The only concern I have is that Pat said they just started the budget process in Northfield. They haven't even gotten close to doing items like the Pines. How much longer do we want to wait in order for that to occur? Because there doesn't seem to be a set time frame for Northfield.
I don't think how much Northfield funds them is going to influence my opinion one way or the other. I think our obligation is to the taxpayers in Tilton, and, you know,
I agree and disagree, but sometimes it seems like we're always the first to fund, and I wonder if what we fund, they just back up. So now if they can't say that we funded them X amount, is that going to create discussion? And it just seems like we always do the equal amount, and we're always the first to fund someone. We've run into that with some other organizations.
Well, a
one
few
year we
years-
funded them for $1, and Northfield gave them what they asked for. And believe me, it was more than $1.
No, and
In the other year, shortly after that, they asked for I believe it was 51 or 52,000, and they funded him for 45. And we funded him for the 52.
And this year it's 57.5?
That was a few years back. This year, they're asking,
62.
last year was 57.5.
Okay.
This year, it's 64,
750.
750.
So it's
So,
$7,000.
Also,
I think that if you really want to, I don't know what the budget process is over in Northfield. I do know that, Dennis is on the committee, the budget committee, and he said they just started last week, so they meet on Thursday evenings, and it'll be probably after the selectmen submit their budget to you, we will have voted on the Pines, so you'll know what we've decided as well. Personally, I think we're our own entity, and I think we should make a decision based on our taxpayers. That's what we've always done. It's good to know what they do and what their thought process is, so that, if they decide to do one and let them, duke it out at town meeting, $1, then perhaps maybe we might want to get on board with that, because it's such a contentious issue at best, and it has been over the past few years. So, you just throw it up and say, which way does it land? It doesn't really matter.
I was going to ask that very question. Are we allowed to just let it come onto the floor of town meeting?
As long as you put $1 in the budget, it stays open and they can change it. If you zero out the budget, they cannot change it on town meeting floor.
right. And they've done that before. 2 years ago, I believe,
The merit raises.
we came down $6,000.
You zeroed out the line.
Right. And so the Recreation Department went to the town meeting to get money.
Well, we put $1 in,
Right.
and then they came and
Got more than,
got more than what they had asked for.
From the town?
Right.
They packed the
Townspeople.
hall. They literally packed the hall.
Because they're the legislative body.
Right, because it's up to them, it's still up, we can have a public hearing, and they can pack the hall and say, I think we should change it, and then, you folks come up to a decision whether or not you want to change it or not. And if you make a decision not to change it, then it goes to the legislative body at town meeting, and they could bring significant representation to say, we want this changed. The moderator's got to recognize non-residents to speak, and he usually does. It's not an issue, but then you can present why you did not want to fund them and your reasoning for, not doing it, and state the reasons. And if you're clear and factual, then the folks will, may or may not decide to do that. It's entirely up to them.
But we've done our job by recommending the budget
Right.
for the legislative body.
From there, at town meeting, it's up to them.
Further discussion? Eric, would you restate the motion, please?
My motion was to continue delaying our decision to fund them until after we hear what the town of Northfield decides to do.
Okay, and that was duly seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Nay. Okay, show of hands. Chair is unsure. All those in favor, raise your hand. 3. All those opposed? 3. Motion does not pass. A chair will entertain a new motion. I make a motion that we fund the Recreation Department using the monies, same amount of monies from fiscal year, this is 14, right? Fiscal year 14, which is
57.5.
57.5.
I second that.
Discussion.
They still would have the ability at town meeting to ask for more.
That is correct. If we put $1 in there, they still can go in.
They have to fight for the whole amount.
Right.
But they could also wind up saying 70,000.
Which is probably what they'll do. It's what they did the last time.
But did,
I think there was a confusion the last time. Wasn't there a warrant article that gave them some monies by petition to allow them some
No,
monies?
because they didn't have enough valid signatures, remember?
Yes, they did.
No, there was something that they didn't have enough valid.
That was
signatures.
something, I think that was something different, but they got that warrant, and then they got the full amount that we paid
Okay.
for what was...
Plus more.
Well, it was more because they got the warrant article, too. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's how it
I
happened.
know they got more than
Right.
they had asked us
They ended up
for.
getting more, right.
And my decision is, the motion is based upon the fact that I'm looking at a budget that we, for the most part, have level funded for other agencies, with minor exceptions. And at the same time, I still have concerns around the inability of getting grants that should be obtained. And I think that could supplement their income much better than the town could. Thirdly, I'm looking at the tax rate. It has gone up substantially over the last couple of years, and we haven't even dealt with the school system yet, which is substantial in itself. So that's what I have to say. John?
after the last meeting, did you ask them for a detailed transaction report? They didn't provide it.
Made enough.
No.
We re-asked them for that, because what they provided was just what they get in for money.
This is what they provide.
Right, I mean, that's what they take in for income. But I want to see what they're spending the money on.
Right.
This was the week before's request,
Okay.
so they worked on the week before. Your
So what we asked
transaction was
for
last week.
Right, so we may get that.
Comments, Jules? It's okay to say no.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm not in favor. I don't want to fund them at the level that they asked for because of the school issue, and the population is getting an increase. So I don't feel that it's appropriate to also increase this budget. So I'm just waiting to see what everybody else says.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
We would have really no way of knowing if any of the programs that they offer, things that they do, are redundant or concurrent with the library and programs at the school. I mean, are they offering stuff that's being offered within the town already? Like, say, at the
Yes.
library and at the school? So, I mean, are we
Yes,
paying,
some
are we
cases,
paying for programs that are already being offered? And John Scanlon said last week is that, I don't want to try to quote him, but just, keep adding new programs, but should we be paying for and adding new programs? Can we afford to, as a town, to keep adding stuff to it, especially if we're doing stuff, say, at the library and at the school?
Right. I know that the library has expanded their program to deal more with elementary school kids. They have story reading. They're actually open till 6 o'clock at night.
Right.
So if a parent needs to bring a child over, they can be there till 6 o'clock. School is offering some after-school programs, but that's a good question.
One of the things that concerned me, when we asked how many people participated in all their programs,
Right.
they had maybe 3 or 4 in some of those programs, and, are we funding a recreation facility for 4 people who, may do something at school vacation? I don't know, and I think that's what we were saying.
There may be 3 or 4 programs going on at the same time, and then, one chooses to do this event, which is only 3 or 4 people, and then there might be an event at the same time that may have 10 people in it. And that's how they've been working. That's, when I went over to visit, that's how it went. However, like archery was different. That's one night and they pay for it, and it's a pretty popular program over there. But the kids pay for that, and a portion of that monies go to the teacher, and then a portion goes to the Pines for staffing it and so on. But, you're kind of in a catch-22 with this, because you have to really sit here as a budget committee and look at the best interest of the town. And our taxes went up $1.84. $1.73 of that was school. And you have to remember that they're a private agency. They're a nonprofit agency, but they're a private agency. They're not owned by the town. We support them, and we have, but they're a private nonprofit agency. And they have to answer to us just like any other private nonprofit agency. And the budget committee, I wish John was here, but had many, many questions, some of which have been answered, some of which still have answers, and some of the information that they've submitted to us created more questions, and we sent back, and we're still waiting on some answers. Unfortunately, this could drag on for quite a while, and we have a timeline to do that. It's unfortunate that we have to every year try to pull out information to get answers, and they're the only one that we have to, kind of take by hand and walk through the process every single year. And it's really the only one that we're really emailing back and forth, well, how about this, how about that, how about this, how about that? They know the process, and we're still getting the answers. If they want the funding, you would think that they would give us the answers up front. This is not new to them at all. This is the part I have trouble with.
And I have
yet
trouble
they
with
do
it,
a
too.
fantastic job over there. I like what they do. I like what they do over there. And the towns and the townspeople look at the numbers. They come and they, in droves, to support them. They have a great community support. So you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Do you not support something that the community supports because it's money, or do you not support them, period, because the community doesn't have any idea of this process unless they watch it on tape? And who wants to spend 2 hours watching a budget committee meeting?
I guess
Well,
what,
I'd like to say that when I have been there, the people who have come there to support it are not people who've used it. They're people who were responsible for starting the Pines, that whole recreation center in the very beginning. Not people who make use of their programs today. And the two of the prime people who speak for that were instrumental in starting the Pines when it was first set up. They do not use that facility today, to my knowledge. I've never seen them there. They no longer get the support of the Rotary Club for the Pet Expo. They used to have that. They don't get that anymore. And the other thing is that the people who, they load this meeting every year with people on their board. But all they say is, you just wouldn't believe how hard Jim works. But I don't see any results from how hard Jim works in terms of grants and in terms of new programs. We were told they're going to start a lot of new programs, but they haven't started yet. What we got in the mail, as an email, are not programs that have started. So, I don't know. Are they going to have the same result as the other programs?
But what was his comment when he sat here at the beginning, saying that I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that they almost didn't make it this year? Almost had to close. I can't remember the reason why that they...
Because they lost Head Start.
But they lost head start
2
3 years ago.
I know that. And that was my point last week. that That's
Yesterday.
not something that they lost this past year. And they've had an opportunity to rent out that facility to other groups.
I guess what's difficult for me is I don't feel that I have enough information to make a educated or responsible decision on it. I just don't know what I'm approving.
And none of us do, because of what they,
You know, I look at the amount that they're asking for, and that's probably, 20 people's tax bill. And I'm not comfortable with that. I don't know what I'm saying yes or no to. So I just, personally myself, I feel I need more to look at. I mean, I see what they have for money that comes in, but what are they spending it on? And we have all these other agencies who provide us, 35-page financial statements with every check that they write, and that's kind of what I would like to see. I want to know what you're spending money on.
Do we have the ability to ask them to come back in with the transaction sheets
Yes, we do.
and ask them in front of us the questions that we have to ask?
We can do that. And the chair will also accept at this point a motion to table the motion that's
Well-
gone.
You made a motion first.
Motion to delay the
That was
vote.
voted, no, that was
yeah, but
gone.
we already voted that.
That was not passed. The motion right now is to fund them at fiscal year
That's right.
14.
Right.
So the chair will entertain a motion to table that motion until our next meeting next week, if the committee so desires. What is the wish of the committee? And at that time, we'll write an email to invite them to come back over.
Next week, you have the selectmen and all the department heads.
Okay, then it'll have to be afterwards. How about the first meeting when we get back?
You're in,
You want a motion?
I'll make that motion as long as I don't have to repeat everything you just said.
No, you just have to, you
Do we-
table the motion.
Table the motion.
do we ask them to come back on January 7th?
Table the
Yes.
motion until January 7th.
That's my motion.
And
Table.
as part of
second
the,
that.
as part of the motion, that we ask for the Recreation Department to come back to answer specific questions.
And to bring with them the
Full
information.
financial,
Right.
Transactions. We want the.
Full
all the
transparency.
Financial transactions, in
Okay?
and out.
Discussion on the tabling motion. Hearing none. All those in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion is tabled until January 7th. And we'll ask them to come over.
That's when we come back after next week.
That'll be,
We meet next Wednesday and then again on January 7th.
right.
Okay.
Okay, so January 7th. Okay, Joanna, we're all set? Okay, on to the next item, financial report. Tim emailed November's, I get this right?
Yep.
Draft of the finances. I would ask that the committee look at them for the next week, and we put them on the agenda for next meeting, so that we can take a look at them and ask any questions or make any comments at that point in time. Is the committee comfortable with that?
Yes.
Matt? Okay, so take a look at them, review them. Now, I've also been informed by Joanna, next week is our last meeting for a couple of weeks, that the following week is Christmas Eve, and the town hall will be closed noontime,
Noontime on Christmas Eve, that's correct.
Christmas Eve, and of course, that means that the week after,
It's New Year's.
New Year's Eve, correct?
Correct.
And is the town hall closing also?
No.
At noon?
No.
But they'll be open, but we will not be here that night. Correct, Joanna?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
I will not be here, I know that.
All right, is the committee comfortable with that?
Yep.
So the next meeting is next week. The meeting following that will be January 7th, where we'll take up the Pines discussion and ask them to come over for that discussion. And also to take a look at the November
Financial report.
for our financial report. John will also be bringing the police report. We'd ask for mileage.
That was in that report.
What's that?
I said that was in the report.
Was
we
in the
just-
report?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, I hadn't checked it.
As well as a revolving fund.
Okay, good. So look at that over the week, and we'll deal with it. Does the Budget Committee have any further business?
I just want to bring up one
Okay?
comment to make. I think it's important when you email the Pines that they bring someone with them who can discuss in detail their finances.
Well, wouldn't that be the executive director?
Well, I think they pay somebody, I think
They
they
have an
pay
auditor.
somebody to do their books.
Well, they do.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that person should come
Yeah.
with them.
I will certainly ask if the committee so desires. Okay?
Well, you think that would be a good idea? I mean, because I'm not sure that people who they've been bringing can answer the questions we're going to have.
Right.
Because we certainly don't want to generate questions that they have to come back to us on. And delay it that much longer.
Makes sense. If there is no further business to come before the Budget Committee, Chair will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So I'll move.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, those opposed? Nice job, folks. Have a safe evening. Travel safely. It's getting nasty.